Welcome to the Greatest Story Podcast with your hosts,
Zac
and Josh. We are here to discuss, react, wait, I missed an and there, and react to some of the greatest stories ever told. We will look at books, movies, video games, and all forms of storytelling to figure out what makes a good story and what are some of the greatest stories.
Excellent. Well, as part of our growing podcast, we want to make sure to give a shout out to all those that make this podcast possible. So we want to talk about and thank our Pathfinders, Pathfinder Commodore Peggy B, Pathfinder Captain Joanna B, Pathfinder Cadet Kirsten, and Pathfinder Cadet Lauren. You guys are champs. And we also want to thank our free members who have joined Patreon just recently, Carson, Joe, and Bridget. Thanks, guys.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go. I thought it was, you know. Josh, what are we talking about today?
Dream within a dream.
Wow, sounds like marriage.
Dream. Oh. We're not getting into that today.
Marriage.
Well, marriage does play an intricate part.
A dream within a dream.
There's a dream coming.
Oh.
And you... Well, what's the next part?
You don't know where it will take you.
And then,
but you have to get on.
Yeah, you have to.
You know you have to get on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Putting
and you're not afraid.
In
Why?
Someone's head.
Because we'll be
together.
Okay.
No. I was gonna hit the slapping sound.
Oh, yikes! That's a little dark. Yes, we're talking about Inception, right? The inception of an idea. The planting of an idea within one's subconscious.
It can't be done.
Hasn't been done yet.
No.
I know they do it already. Yeah. Actually, that's a whole thing. Did they already do it? Are they in one right now?
Oh, here we go.
Does it ever end? Here we go. Okay.
We're starting at the debate. Was it all a dream?
Everything's a dream. What about a clear plot for Inception?
All right. Yeah, we're just jumping in here.
Yeah, I want to just jump in.
No, yes.
Okay, what?
Yes, no?
Maybe so?
I mean, okay, so... Yes. Yes and no.
You have to choose!
No, I don't! I'm a free person. And my name is Josh. So, the basic plot follows I'm going to say con artist, but it's more than that, named Cobb.
Yeah, he's
an espionage.
He's espionage. He is a corporate espionage
guy, spy, professional mercenary type thing.
Yep.
And
business sabotage.
They live in a world where multiple governments and corporations have developed a technology that allows people to enter others' lucid dreams. And depending on who's dreaming, they can control the world, manipulate it, whatever. And so companies have begun a process of weaponizing this to go into, their rivals' minds, steal trade secrets, whatever. And Cobb is the best at that. And so Cobb, though, is on the run because he is charged with a crime that we'll get into later. And he just wants to go home. So he's looking for a big score to create a fake identity, get a lot of money, and just ride out the rest of his life with his kids back at home.
Yep, and so there's two kind of main goals or plot lines that are happening. There's our Japanese businessman who is...
Saito?
Mm-hmm. And Saito is trying to take down his rival company, just like Josh mentioned.
Was it Fisher Enterprise or something like that?
Yep. Big power and kind of... electric conglomeration across the globe.
Yeah, they don't even really say.
No, it's like hands in a lot of things. You're supposed to fill in the gaps. Like
it's very soft world. Mm-hmm, it's not like lore.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be a sequel.
They give you what is necessary to tell the story, and you fill in the gaps. Yeah. Almost as if
it's a dream.
It's a dream.
Yep.
Anyway, so that's his goal. Now he's going to use Cobb to do it because, like Josh said, Cobb needs a lot of money to get back to his kids because he's on the run from the government, and so that's where we're building to this kind of big heist / planting the dream. The way they plant the idea is through kind of like a heist mentality or kind of a heist storytelling, and so it's it feels very much like a heist movie,
It
like
is a heist.
Ocean's
I mean,
13
it is
kind
a
of
heist
idea.
movie. It's just
Yeah.
they're
They're planting something instead of taking something,
yeah,
but the way they do that is by taking
but it's
something.
still
Yeah.
corporate espionage.
Yeah,
Like it's
exactly.
still they're still robbing to some degree.
Right.
They're just tricking somebody to rob themselves.
Yes. Yep. So, and I think the plot line is pretty good actually.
Yeah.
I think it hits all of those major story beats. I'm not lost on the plot when I watch the movie.
No,
Okay. Now, a
unless
lot of people I think get lost in this movie.
I think it's built for you to get lost.
Exactly, but I don't think it's the plot. Like if you sit down and watch the movie, I think you understand what happened. You just don't know how to interpret it.
I can get behind it. I think that the plot is because it's so loose. I think in we put ourselves and what we think into it. I think it can. I think you can say it doesn't have a clear plot, but intentionally, like
That's true. Like that's the goal.
yeah.
Is that it's not all fleshed out.
No, I know.
Yeah.
So it's like because the great debate is Cobb dreaming the whole time?
Right.
Is he not?
Yeah.
Is
Does the dream end? Was there ever a dream?
was he
Is
in
the
the
whole
middle?
thing a dream?
Yeah,
Yeah.
was
Like
he in-
from the beginning.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we just talked about how the world building is really soft. Well, the way they describe how the dreams work in the movie is that the world building is soft, right?
They
You're
just tell you.
speaking in general things.
Nobody knows how a dream starts.
Exactly.
How did you get here?
Yep. Nobody knows how the movie started.
That's true because they open up with the end and then
Yep.
it circles.
Yep. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
If, yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, but we're gonna get to that more.
Yeah.
I want to get to that more in world building and ethical lesson and things like that. So, what about clear plot? I think it's good, right? What about character arcs?
It's complicated.
Yeah. So
no, yes.
so this is where I think the movie starts to suffer. Actually, is that I think the characters are engaging, and I think some of them are. I think some of them are compelling, but do they learn? Right? Cobb,
okay,
I think Cobb learns. I think DiCaprio learns.
Fisher.
I
would say Fisher.
I think so. Even if his, I mean, I struggle with Fisher because
I teared up.
He's like he finds this healing with his father, but we don't know if that was actually ever true.
Does it have to be true for the healing
for him? Maybe not.
Like think about forgiveness.
But that's a question, right? Is it really forgiveness?
Yeah. So if I wrong you, right? And you harbor that, do I have to repent of what I've done for you to let go of your anger to me?
Oh, okay, that's good. No, right? You can forgive someone even if in this case they're already gone or they do repent or they don't repent.
Yeah, I would argue that Fisher has the clearest.
Yeah, no, that's good. He does. He goes from hating his father to being okay with his father to forgiving his father.
Yeah. Was this Cillian Murphy's first stop? I know I said Cillian Murphy. Anyways. I know I'm saying it wrong. Was this his first real stop to stardom?
Yeah, I think it was
because he was in Batman.
Yep.
Christopher Nolan, by the way, is the producer.
Brilliant.
And director.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan is
brilliant. And he cycles the same.
Yeah, and then Hans Zimmer, and then it's just.
I feel like.
Yeah.
I also feel like these actors must like each other because they
there is really together. And there's really good synergy in this movie.
Well, but even Tom Hardy is in what is the British Street Gang? Peaky Blinders.
Oh yeah, yep, he's in that one too. Yep.
Cillian Murphy is in almost every Christopher Nolan movie.
I haven't
seen Oppenheimer yet.
Oh my goodness, so good.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But anyways, we will maybe do an episode at some point on it.
Yeah.
Anyways, all that to say, I brought him up just to say he's given very little, but his impact is really large, and so he just as an actor.
Yeah, he's a brilliant actor. Yeah, brilliant actor. Absolutely. I think Cobb grows, right? He has to also, in a way, approach forgiveness, and this is where we start to get into why he's on the run. He's on the run because he's accused of murdering his wife,
which he maybe did in a roundabout way.
Yes, because we find out probably 3/4 through the movie.
It's in the last.
Yeah.
I don't know how many acts does this movie have, you think?
I would have to go through and categorize it. I think it probably sets up 3.
I feel like
with a bunch of
4.
mini chapters, but it could be 4.
I don't know. I don't want to argue it.
Yeah. But we find out that Inception works because he's done it before. He's planted an idea in someone's mind.
And that person he planted in was Maul, his wife.
His wife.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were trapped in limbo,
like purgatory.
Yeah,
basically.
it's like
purgatory.
the dream chaos you can't escape. There's nothing is real.
Well, it's not even like chaos. It's just you become God.
Yeah.
And you can go insane.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the meta commentary things.
Yeah.
But we can get there later.
Like, you need people, because if you're trapped by yourself, even with all this creative power,
you're not meant to be God.
Yeah.
I think it's part of it.
Yeah.
Anyways, but they're trapped down there.
She doesn't want to leave. He starts to realize, we need to get out of here.
They've been there
for who knows how long.
In his perspective, which I'm going to be very intentional in saying, his perspective was
they've been there for a long time, like
years.
Yeah. Decades.
Yeah. They grew old together.
Yep.
Which is like her big thing.
Yep.
In his mind.
Yep.
Because Maul's actually dead.
Yes.
We'll have to talk about
because he plants this idea in her mind that the world is not real, so they have to wake up. So the way that you wake up from dreams is by dying, and so they die, and so they can wake up, but then that leads Maul, his wife, to start to go crazy, because she still has that idea that the world is not real.
And so she wants to escape.
She wants to go home,
and creates a situation where she
ends up dying, and there's no one else around, and so except for Cobb, right? That's the point. And so the police show up, and they don't believe him. I guess
this is what's weird, right? Like, he's in one hotel room.
Yeah.
In the room's a disaster. Like, it's staged to look like he did something wrong.
Yes, that's right. Because she's trying to trap him.
Yeah, but then she's like in a different building across the way, and so that's why in the
there's
mirror
some
thing. I like that's one of the reasons why I'm like always tripped up on, is it a dream?
Yes. Well, and I think that's intentional. Christopher Nolan sets up these inconsistencies on purpose, because I think you have to decide what is a dream and what is not a dream.
Where does the dream begin and where does it end?
Exactly. And I think there's arguments for both sides.
Well, I watched this with my brother, and he at one point was like, "What if Maul's right, and Leonardo DiCaprio Cobb is wrong?"
Yeah, exactly. That's a question you have to ask, and I'm going to get to where I fall and why I fall there on this kind of issue. I'm going to get there in ethical lesson.
I hope we disagree.
Really?
I really do.
That'll be interesting.
It'll be entertaining.
Yeah. So that's his character arc, is because Cobb now feels guilty about his wife's death. He also is on the run, and so
feels guilty as a dad.
Feels guilty as a dad because he's on the run. So he literally, his family's a mess. His kids live with his father-in-law, and so
who is the gentleman that plays Alfred?
Michael Caine. Oh yeah,
Michael Caine does
fantastic.
a great job.
He plays the father-in-law, and he is
is it the father-in-law?
He's Maul's father.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're like, it's obvious that they're this. It's originally a professor-student relationship that is then a mentor-son relationship, then a father-in-law-son-in-law relationship.
So they're tight.
They're super tight. And that's actually, when we get to characters, like, the relationship between them is really, really good. They only have, like, 5 scenes together, but DiCaprio and Michael Caine are, like, amazing actors.
Well, they also, like, Michael Caine gets so little to say in this movie, but, like, all of his words are impactful. Like,
oh my goodness, his lines are some of the most important.
It takes more than the occasional stuffed teddy bear to prove to your kids that you're a father.
When he says "come home," almost like coming out of a dream. Oh yeah. It's very important. It's very important. Now, as far as the other characters, that's where it starts to get a little iffy for me.
They're props.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
They're almost like MacGuffins. Right?
They are, and like Tom Hardy's character. I don't remember.
Eames is a sick character.
Oh yeah, Eames is great. I don't remember the girl's name.
I have it. Hang on. Ariadne.
Yep. Ariadne. Yeah.
Ariadne.
Yeah. Ariadne. So they're all great characters in the acting and the dialogue, but they don't really grow or change, and they're kind of stale from that perspective. But I think that's intentional.
Though.
Yeah.
Well, it's not about.
They're engaging, right?
I'm going to argue.
So I think that's where this is another one of those. Is it a dream moments?
Oh, because they're so 2D.
because they're purposely 2D. They have a job and they do their job. And
Like
they're great at acting, but they also kind of feel like maybe they're side characters in the dream.
I feel like Arthur, like Joseph, is it? Yeah, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, Arthur. I feel like he has some perplexity to him.
Well, and I think that's part of maybe it's not a dream. Maybe some of these people are real, right? I think Christopher Nolan does a great job of giving you little tidbits for both sides of the argument that it actually becomes an argument, right? There's not a clear cut. He doesn't say, it was a dream, or, no, it wasn't a dream.
So I feel like Christopher Nolan's movies, I love them all. Some of my favorite movies are Christopher Nolan movies, including this one. This is probably my top 3 favorite movies. Not because it's a great story, but I like Christopher Nolan movies because of the idea that is planted in your head, so to speak, and the top is spinning and not falling over. Do you mean to pause?
Yeah.
Do you mean to speak again? Hello?
Okay. Okay, got it. There was just a weird like buzzing sound I was trying to get rid of.
Is it gone now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
My mic must be more sensitive than yours. Or less sensitive.
Less sensitive, yeah. This mic is way better than that mic.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Hopefully this still sounds better, though.
I think so. Okay, right. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, so the idea that's planted in your head is more important than the story. Like, the story is merely a conduit for what Christopher Nolan actually wants to create, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Yep.
And so, I mean, some of these in my mind are actually kind of low. Like, story is probably a B, C, a C, B, somewhere in there.
Like as a whole? Or
No. Like
plot.
Clear plot,
yeah.
B, C, character arc, C, probably. But it's the world.
Yeah.
The captivating world.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't gotten there yet, but
I know, but it's gonna slingshot.
Yeah,
for
it's
me.
slingshots, yeah. Yep. What about clear ethical lesson?
Guilt, I think, is probably the clearest one.
Yes.
In that I would probably say through Fisher and Cobb. In both, one has to do with forgiving yourself, and the other one has to do with forgiving
another
others.
person. Yep.
Which I think this might be this is pure speculation. I wonder if those things are put in as ethical lessons because your brain processes what happens to you in life when you dream.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's what dreams are made out of. They're made.
They're you reconciling your life.
Yeah. They take bits from your experiences and your thoughts, and they put them all together in this weird swirl as your brain processes things.
That's literally why you sleep.
Yeah. And so then you're...
Well, there's more to why you sleep.
Healing and physical things too. But like you're also... So you're processing forgiveness in this movie, just like if it was a dream.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, but I think letting go guilt, right? Cobb, his whole... So this is where you're going to have to watch the movie. I don't think we're going to be able to fully make you understand what we're talking about here. But Maul shows up in Cobb's mind whenever there's a dream or he enters someone else's dream and she works to undermine
She tries to sabotage everything.
I would argue that there are no villains in this movie, but if there is one, it's Maul. But he can't stop her from coming in. She has some level of autonomy, which is kind of weird. And that's, again, probably one of those Christopher Nolan, purposefully throwing tidbits either direction down the aisle. But his guilt is literally ruining his life.
Yeah, and every time he tries to make a successful dream heist espionage, Maul jumps in and tries to ruin it.
His guilt literally ruins his prospects of moving forward in life.
Yep, I think that's intentional.
And I think there's something deep to be said about that.
Yeah.
And I think what did we say last episode? If you got it, say it.
If you got it, say it.
Yeah. And then, you want to talk about Fisher?
Yeah, so I think Fisher and forgiving his father is a super important idea. I think that one of the ethical lessons of this story is the importance of ideas and positivity and just the power that those things have in your life. So we see a lot of kind of the power of an idea, that it can grow and change you as a person. And then we see this idea of positivity where they even have a line where they say, because they want it when they're talking about how to do the heist and how to kind of accomplish Saito's goals, right? They talk about how a positive idea is better and more life-changing than a negative idea. Because at first they're like, oh, we'll have him rebel against his father and like want to destroy the empire as part of like vengeance. And they're like, well, actually, it would be better if there's a positive reason for him doing something.
Yeah.
So forgiving his father and seeking to build something new and not just kind of copy his father, but be better than his father.
Which is crazy because they ultimately get what they want.
And help Fisher heal.
And it's like, is that a net negative? Is that a net positive?
Yeah. He still destroys the empire, but it's because he forgives his father. He wants to be better than his father. He thinks his father wants him to be better, right?
So they almost set him free.
Yeah.
To some degree.
Yeah.
Through robbing him.
Yeah, right. And that's exactly what psychology and counseling does, too.
What? I don't know. That's a stretch.
Therapy sets you free by robbing you.
Oh, I get it. That's $100 an hour. Thank you. All right.
Absolutely.
I want a reason to use the gunshot later.
Yeah.
And I will make it happen.
I will make it.
I'm planning the idea in Zach's mind as we speak. If I say think of a pink elephant, what do you think of?
A gunshot now.
That's poaching. That's illegal. Oh man, where are we?
Ethical lesson still.
Yeah. The only one other that I can probably try to dig for is like creativity is powerful.
Yeah, creativity is powerful.
That's the only other one that I would probably dig at.
Yeah, so this is the last one that I want to touch on is the idea of the dream. Okay, this is where I want to talk about this.
An ethical lesson?
Yeah. Because this is why the ethical lesson is why I come down on one particular side. Okay, so we talk about all throughout this movie. There's these little hints, right? Is it a dream? Is it not a dream? Does the dream end? And the biggest reason for that is because throughout the movie they have this kind of token where everybody has a particular token that tells them whether or not it's a dream.
Like a physical item that does something physically.
Something specific.
That you build into it.
Yep.
In your mind.
Yep.
So like.
It's a chess piece that weighs a certain...
It only falls one direction.
Yep. Or the biggest one is a top that spins.
And
it'll fall down.
Spinning if it's a dream, and it will fall if it's reality.
Exactly. Well, at the very end of the movie, Cobb finally reunites with his kids. The heist goes off well. The money gets transferred. The government stops trying to hunt him down.
He spins the top.
He goes with his kids.
Which is his wife's token. It's Maul's token, which is worth noting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's worth noting that that's what he uses to break her mind.
Yep.
Anyways, continue.
And he walks off into the distance, and the top begins to wobble. But then the movie ends, so we don't know if it falls or if it doesn't fall. There is a little bit of wobble there, but does that mean it's about to fall like a top should, or is it just regaining and continuing to spin forever and ever because the whole thing is actually a dream?
Which, from an artist perspective,
it's brilliant.
It's brilliant because it makes your movie, what is it, relevant?
Yep.
Forever.
Yep.
And people can debate about it. This
forever.
Movie, yeah.
There's literally arguments to both sides. You have to choose which side you think is right, because there's no clear-cut evidence where we're like, yes, guilty. No, we don't know.
Which makes me think there is no answer, by the way.
Yes. Oh, 100%. I think the answer...
I think Christopher Nolan...
I think the answer is yes.
What?
I think both are true, and that's the point. You have to choose which one you're going to believe.
Okay.
Is it a dream or is it not a dream? What do you think?
I should have taken better notes. I think that Leonardo is in reality. I think
at the end of the movie.
Yeah, I think it happens.
So it's not a dream.
I don't think it's all a dream.
Right. Obviously, there's a dream in there, even if it's a dream within a dream.
But I think
which we know is possible.
I think the heist happens, and it's because of there's some of the behavior that Maul has. I think Maul is just a personification of his guilt. And so I think Cobb believes that Cobb deserves to die.
Yep.
And so in each time he goes in, his brain is trying to eliminate himself because deep down he believes that he deserves death.
Yep.
And so because that is probably my like one of the main arguments I would make is that Maul is not like he even says it. He's like, you are not my wife. I can never capture your intricacies, your abnormalities.
Yep. You're just a
like
shadow. You're a copy.
You're a pale
you're
reflection.
Yep.
And I think that's true because Maul is so one dimensional. Like she is only like a death trap for Cobb specifically. And like the only other time she hurts someone is to hurt Cobb. And so I think it's Cobb shooting Cobb in the knee. And that's like the representation. So for that is my main reason why I think it's actually real.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, we agree. So we
No,
can't fight about it. I
no.
also think it's real.
Dang it.
Because, and this is why I think this is part of the ethical lesson, it has to be real. It has to be real. Otherwise, the world is chaos. Otherwise, relativism reigns and nothing is real and nothing is true because everything in the entire movie is a dream. There's no reason to do anything. And this is why I think the movie points this way, is because of Michael Caine. His interactions and his kind of dialogue, which
Very
is
grounding.
short, but it's very grounding. He even says, right, your children deserve their father, right? You have to do something to be there, to be with them, to be present with them. You have to come home. And so I think that's the idea, is the end of the movie, it's real. There's the heist and there's the dreams in the movie, obviously, but the whole movie is not a dream because people demand action. People demand relationship. People demand something of you, and that's the truth. It can't be that it's all a dream. Otherwise, the people don't matter. The kids don't matter.
So is this just a critique on nihilism?
I think so. Yeah. I think there's two ways to take it. I think Christopher Nolan's movie is dealing with nihilism, and it's either you agree with it and nothing matters,
which
or
you could make an argument. Probably.
Yeah, again, he puts evidence in there for both sides, right? I don't think there's enough evidence to officially say this is what he intends. I think
but
it's both sides.
We hope.
But so that's the other choice is, or you reject nihilism and you say, no, people matter, action matters, life matters.
Yeah.
So do your best and forgive others and free yourself from guilt, right? That's kind of the idea. And for me, that is what I want, because like that's a much more positive note. That's a better ethical lesson than, well, good luck. I guess life sucks and nothing matters.
That's the classic, like, if nihilism's true and there's only like, a handful of reasons to exist, why exist?
Yep.
And I guess maybe just a slight add-on to that is like, why else would your mind, like people's subconsciouses when they're getting robbed, like fight back?
Right, because they do.
Their mind tries to keep them alive.
They've got safes and bodyguards and fortresses and
the whole world like
is like against the intruders.
Yeah. And so if nothing matters,
why would they be against?
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Anyways.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. What about conflict and resolution?
If what we say is true, then yes.
Yeah. I think it's good. If the whole thing is not a dream.
I think
if it is a dream,
Cobb lets go of Maul,
then it's just a circle, which you could argue because it begins and ends in the same place. Well, not quite though. If
they get out.
Yeah.
But
do they get out? Here we go.
Like
see, that's where
letter
it keeps
Q
cycling. Yeah. Does the Q ever stop?
Well, I mean, it's like, do you get stuck in the circle or do you find the exit path out?
Right.
I mean, like the literal.
Otherwise, it'd just be a no.
I remember they had a cool poster, like the movie poster
for Inception. Is it the one where the building?
Maze.
Is it the one where the building's falling? Or...
Well, it is, but if you look at it, it forms a maze.
Oh yeah.
It's like a literal what is it called? We have garden mazes. Is it just a maze?
I think it's
garden?
Just called a garden maze. Yeah.
That's what it looks like, but made out of buildings.
Yeah.
And I think like Cobb has to find his way out.
Yep.
And I think that like the symbolism's there.
Yep.
So for that reason, I would say yes.
Yeah.
Like everybody makes it. Well, everybody makes it out.
No, they do. There's a couple close calls, but they make it out.
The Fisher stuff, like that's cool. Like he comes out resolved. Cobb, if you take that it's reality, does get to go home. He releases Maul like physically in the dreamscape. but then like figuratively, like he moves
Yep.
on with his life.
Yeah, his guilt is gone. Yep.
Gone or accepted or whatever.
Sure. Resolved.
Yeah, he's able to live with it. So I would say yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good.
I think it is. And then engaging in relatable characters.
I say yeah.
So I go back and forth on this one because some of our characters are 2D, and that's not a knock on their acting ability because they're still enjoyable. I just don't know if they're engaging and relatable.
Oh, I would say they're engaging. I don't know if they're relatable.
Yeah, but that's okay because this is engaging and relatable or relatable, however you want to talk about it. So I still gave it pretty high. I think I gave it an A on. Yeah, I gave it an A or a B on this one. So
yeah, I'm fine with that.
I think it's pretty solid. They're good. They're good characters.
I mean, they are MacGuffins.
Yeah.
Right? Like
they're accomplishing goals. They're not the most dynamic or complex.
They're literally tools, but they're people.
Yeah.
Like you have a chemist.
Yep.
You have
designer.
You have like Tom Hardy's character.
He's like muscle basically.
No. He's like the forger. They call him the forger.
Oh yeah, he gets all the stuff. He gets everything they need. He's like the
No. He's like he acts, right? He acts as Fisher's.
Yeah, but he also he's an actor, but he also like gets the stuff that they need.
No, Arthur does.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was confusing him.
Yeah, Joseph Gordon-Levitt does that.
Yeah, that's right. Chemist, collector, actor, designer. Yeah. And then Cobb is like the leader. The overall
team lead.
Yeah. He's supposed to be the designer, but he can't because of
Maul
his guilt.
Break it. Yeah,
exactly.
Which Maul breaks it anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Saito is great. Oh my goodness, Saito's so good. He Ken
that actor gives
Ken Watanabe is just a phenomenal actor. Stay tuned for the next episode we talk about. He shows up again.
Yeah.
And phenomenal acting. He's just not given a lot in the next movie that we're going to talk about.
Don't get there yet. I just got to say it, but like Tom Hardy's...
Actually, Ken Watanabe is going to show up a lot on this podcast.
Well, we only got one other thing. 2 things. That's true, 2 things planned after that. Mm-hmm. Well, tune in, I don't know, next fall.
That's right, to hear more from...
wow.
Ken
That's
Watanabe.
A deep forecast.
It is a deep forecast.
Weather in 2 years will be...
And if we get 1 million subscribers...
5.
5 million?
Fine.
But I really want him on the podcast.
All right, fine. I feel like, 1 million just, it's chump change nowadays, I feel like.
Okay, fine. 5 million subscribers, then we will get Ken Watanabe on the podcast.
Yep. That's definitely gonna happen.
What about...
Wait.
Oh, sorry. You
just want to say
another character?
Yeah, just engaging Tom Hardy's little quips.
Oh, yeah.
Throughout. Great comic relief. And
like,
when they're engaged in Fisher's second level of his mind in the city. And they're in like the warehouse and Arthur's like...
that's the first level, isn't it?
I think that's this... You're right.
Yeah.
The hotel.
Because then they go to the hotel.
In the first level, when
are you thinking of the Think Bigger?
You got it. No, it's you got to dream bigger, darling.
Yes.
And that's straight fire. Yay!
There you go. You fit it. Wow, you were really building to that one. Yep.
I did think about it for a little bit.
It was actually a grenade launcher, though. But that's
okay. It was, and it was a cool explosion.
Yeah, it was cool.
I wish this button actually did like an explosion noise.
Yeah. We'll work on that. We'll work on that. Editing Zach here. I made it an explosion instead of the gunshot sound, just to rob Josh. What about Captivating World? This is an S for me.
Which is weird because it's soft.
Yeah, it is.
It's incredibly
But listen, it's Hans Zimmer. The score is fantastic. The cinematics are absolutely incredible.
It is.
It's very Doctor Strange-ish whenever they're like going through.
Or is Doctor Strange Inceptionist?
I guess.
But then
it just sounds like a receptionist.
No, we're in a recession. We're not.
No.
That was angst.
Yeah. Anyway, but with the whole like designing and things moving, and it's really cool the way they kind of explain the literal world building of the dreams.
I agree that it's really cool. I will say that if you poke at it, it's gonna fall apart. Like if you try to make it real, like the physics.
But that's gonna be consistency. for me, not world building.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll buy it. Yeah. I really do enjoy the world too. Like I
Like
said,
there's some suspension of disbelief. You have to agree with the fact that we can go into people's dreams,
yeah,
and
you have to be okay with
yeah,
it.
you have to be okay with that. But
Which
once you get there, then I think everything else just draws you right
which
in.
I really think that Christopher Nolan and whatever story writers he had
Yeah,
on
he's a
board,
master storyteller.
um, assuming that it's him who's like pushing all this, which I think is a safe assumption. I really do think that the soft world is his preferred playground.
Yeah.
Like even Batman,
Yep.
the Christopher Nolan Christian Bale
Yep.
trilogy, is still pretty soft
Yep.
in world building.
Yep.
And the only reason
Things
it feels
happen
hard is
as they need to
yeah.
happen for the story.
And
Yeah.
if it feels hard, it's because we pull our outside information about Batman
Yep.
in.
Into it. Yep.
Anyways, but we're not talking about Batman.
Yeah.
So I'm cool with
That's
that.
the story we need, but not the one that we deserve. Okay.
Inception's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
Inception's great. Inception is better than Batman, I would say. At least
I don't know.
some of them. Dark Knight is good. Dark Knight is the best one. I don't know if it
That's
beat
like
Dark Knight,
choosing your
but
first child or your second child.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
tough. And you throw Interstellar in there. Interstellar's definitely worse.
yeah. Interstellar is great, but it's
I
not
do
as
like
good
Matthew
as.
McConaughey though.
Oh, don't even get me started on the actors in that movie. Jeez,
Yeah,
so good.
like Anne Hathaway.
Oh, it's stacked. It's Michael Caine shows up again.
That's true.
Yeah, Michael Caine is in almost every single Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Anne Hathaway's in a lot of them.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
I think this is the only one Leonardo's in, right?
Yes.
That's also the only one Matthew McConaughey's in.
Yeah.
Christian.
That might not be true, actually. I would have to check all the movies.
I guess I'd have to watch Tenet again. Tenet is the one I'm like least familiar with.
Tenet is my favorite out of all of them.
No way.
It is my favorite Christopher Nolan movie.
All right, let's move on. We got to watch Tenet now.
Yeah.
It makes me want to go home and watch Tenet.
Yeah, you should. What about consistency? That you should too, listener. Watch Tenet and Inception. Okay.
Yeah, or comment about it and we'll throw it in.
Yeah, sure.
In one of our seasons.
Consistency. What do you think? I think it's okay.
So like I was saying, I think if you poke, you will break it. Because like Zach said, you have to suspend your disbelief.
Yeah, willing suspension of disbelief.
You gotta assume and accept the assumption that you can, that there's a drug that makes you mind meld, like Vulcan mind meld with other people's dreams.
Wow, that is a reference. Wow, Star Trek. Did not think that was going to appear, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched Star Trek a couple times.
Yeah, no, I'm not dissing. I just didn't expect that.
My dad's favorite franchise is Star Trek, and mine is Star Wars, and so that's a point of contention.
Sure,
but
sure.
You can Vulcan mind meld with somebody else's dream and bring like 20 people in.
Yep.
You also have to suspend your disbelief about some of the corporate espionage stuff and like how is this working politically and
Saito just has innumerable amounts of money.
He like buys an entire
plane, airline. Yeah, he's just can apparently just convince the government to stop chasing people. I mean,
there's the line where it's like you'd have to buy the plane. It's like, oh, I bought
the airline. Yeah.
But even sometimes the physics. And I gotta give a shout out. Their special effects are so practical.
Oh, it's so good.
So like I was researching with my brother like how they did some of the hallway fight scenes. They built a vertical hallway, and then they also went into an airplane and did maneuvering in the airplane to get some zero gravity effects, so they could fight in a hallway, in a plane, flying, and that is just baller to me.
Yep. Yeah, it's really good. Again, I think that builds the captivating world because it all fits.
Yeah, but I guess part of the consistency is sometimes the physics are really consistent.
Yeah, sometimes less.
Sometimes you're like, I don't like the falling thing. Like the one of the main ways you can also wake up is by
falling.
In fact, the preferable method is falling.
Right. Less painful because you don't have to die.
If you die, but also if you die in certain parts of this is actually pretty important. If you die in certain parts of the dream, you'll get sent to that limbo purgatory space where you can go insane.
Yep.
At which point you come out insane. Anyways. But some of the falling physics, like the timing, like the first level's like this amount of time, second level you times that by 10, the third level you times that by 10, and like the elevator specifically for me when they're rising up, I feel like that would feel like falling. It's not until like they get slammed backward from the C4 explosion in the elevator shaft that they wake up. It's just stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like that is
Well, a lot of that
so
is
minuscule.
Yeah. I would still put consistency at like B probably.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So overall, it's great. I think it's a really great movie. If you had to put it into a final answer,
Oh, that's tough. It is one of my favorite movies, but for some reason,
yeah. So again, and we've talked about this before, right? There are movies that we enjoy that can sometimes be different than what they are rated.
It's at least an A, I think, based on everything we've talked about. But like, it's just, but we don't have a metric to include like the debatability, the like deep meta commentary. Like, we don't have a category really for that, and I think that's what makes this movie set apart. And so, if you take that out, I think it's just an A.
Yeah, that's how I rated it.
If you attach it
it's
in,
an A.
I think it's an S.
Yeah, I put it in there as A because we don't have I'm following the rubric. We don't have a method for that. Would I still like? It is an A, but this is in my top movies of all time, right? So
it is a movie of all time.
Yes.
It might even be a top movie of all time.
Yeah, it's amazing, right? It's one that I would recommend anyone and everyone to go and watch.
Yeah.
And then probably to watch it 3 times because that's when you're really going to start enjoying it because you have to engage with like the first time you watch it it's just to see what happens and then you have to start thinking about wait, is it a dream or is it not a dream? Wait, what's the whole deal with guilt?
Clues,
and exactly.
Next thing you know, you're in a Reddit thread.
Exactly.
Knee deep in a Reddit thread.
Yeah. Like, I don't actually want to say how many times I've seen this movie.
I probably watch it at least once every other year since it's come out.
I'm like twice a year.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I watch
I mean,
it.
It's a really good movie, but twice a year?
I watch it all the time. Yeah.
So is it background watch or is it like actively on the couch with a bowl of popcorn watching?
I only have one way of watching.
You never do background watching?
No. If there's a movie, I have to like pay attention.
Okay.
That's why I had a roommate in college who would watch The Office while he did homework, and I would have to leave the room because I would just watch The Office. And that's not even a good story.
Hey, we learned something about Zach today, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we landed on A, right?
A. Yeah. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that thought given to you, or was it an original thought?
Pink elephants. Okay.
The end? Goodbye?
No. Oh, okay.
No, okay, you're right. We gotta make sure to like and subscribe.
There you go. I was gonna say,
yeah. Putting a little thought in your head, like maybe you want to go comment what you think.
There you go. Is it a dream? Is it not a dream? Was this a dream?
Do you want a dreamsicle? There's a new Coca-Cola flavor. It's relevant.
Okay.
Do you want to build a snowman? The end. Now we're done.